Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle, Ali. And today we're going to decipher astral traveling or astral projections. I just came back from the year 1958. And this is, a little high science, so it might seem spooky. It might even seem impossible to most people. But we're going to try to simplify this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the mind of man is infinite. It's capable of accomplishing anything that the brain can conceive. Basically, anything that you can imagine, you can really do. If you can imagine flying straight through the sun without getting burnt, you can really fly through the sun without getting burnt. It's not limited by time, nor space, nor depth, dimension, place, or circumstances. The laws of cause and effect are universal laws. They are mathematical laws. We call Islam mathematics. God doesn't have a religion. We think God is a Buddhist or a Muslim or a Jew or a Hindu, but actually the message teaches us that Islam is not our religion. Islam is the nature of our self-creation. Everything is Islam. The sun is Islam, the moon is Islam. Everything in this universe operates off of mathematical laws. If I drop my phone, it would fall at a mathematical rate. It would make a sound wave at exactly 1,120 feet per second. If it goes up, it's going to come down. There's cause and there's effect. There's actions and there's reactions. Our lessons teaches us in the 99 Actual Facts and the Actual Factors by Prophet W.D. Farr that the original man has 7 mind dimensions: the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the soul, the self, and the will. We also have 9 forces which balances our equilibrium: attraction, repulsion, cohesion, assimilation, dissimulation, creation, projection, reception, and intuition. One of the natural powers in all humanity is the power of projection. When people go to sleep, as they say, that's really a misnomer, because you can't wake up and you can't go to sleep. You really can't be conscious and you really can't be unconscious. Those are terms that we use to try to explain things in this medium, in this dimension, if you will. You know what I mean? But last night, around 4 a.m., my eyes was closed, but I could clearly see some black guy sitting at the table eating some meatloaf. And I was curious because I'm like, I'm dreaming? I mean, is this a vision? What's going on? You know what I mean? But as I observed, I was curious as to how long he was chewing his food. It was real weird to me that he's really chewing his food. Like he wasn't, how somebody eats something then swallow. He just was chewing it. I could clearly see him and feel that I really was there. I mean, for some odd reason, I was just sitting on the floor. He was sitting at the dinner table eating. He couldn't see me nor hear me, but I clearly saw him. I saw the nuances. I could smell the food. I can, the sensations, touch and feel and smell and sight. The mathematics was all there. And I observed him get up and put on his coat, and he had a hat, he put on his hat, and he went outside and got in his car. And when he got in his car, for some odd reason, I didn't see a newspaper, there was nothing on the car, but for some odd reason, I knew it was the year 1958. Had no idea who the guy was, some dark-skinned black guy, kind of beefy, and he just drove off down the road. And I came back to this reality, if you will. You know what I mean? So it's like the Holy Quran tells us, you're not crazy. Thou art not mad, as the Holy Quran puts it. But the mind of man. I mean, you don't need honey, you don't have to smoke no weed, but ancient people used to use natural substances such as opium and black tar, heroin, and the coca leaf and weed and Native American Indians, and alcohol, you name it. Ancient Kemetic Egyptian beer that they used to make, whatever, red wines, whatever, white wines, and not just to get high, but to have spiritual sciences. But in this day and time, with so many synthetic things on the market, you really be experimenting with high explosives so you can kill yourself. You know what I mean? So I'm talking about naturally traveling within your own mind. You know what I mean? Like, if I was to say, let's go run through the sun, in that fraction of a second, I already ran through the sun. I'm back. It really happened because it was an idea, recessive idea. I'm not really entertaining it, but I could entertain that idea. Now, I mean, you can entertain that idea. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us in Our Sayers of Ra, he said that, you know, the white man was standing on the shore. He wondered what was on the other side of that ocean. That's how the black man was in ancient Africa. What's on the other side of that ocean? That's how the Chinese man, the red man, and the woman too, the children too, even animals, even birds. And eventually, people and things started exploring. And it may not happen in your lifetime or in my lifetime, but it may come up in your son or your daughter's lifetime, or your great, 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 great grandchildren's lifetime. And we're all one family, so all the children in the future are your children too. So someone is going to take and entertain that idea. Somebody's going to take that recessive thought and make it a dominant thought. And what happens is you have failure after failure after failure after failure after countless failures until you get the one success. And once you get that little canoe, once you get that little raft, that little boat, that little dried out piece of log that somebody noticed, hey, you notice all these old rotten trees, they float on the water pretty good. That thing been out there for years with no problem. Even through storms it stayed in. Then it dawned on me, hey, I seen a frog sitting on there. I seen a bird land on there. You know what I mean? And it traveled and it gave me an idea. That's how natural things become highly technical things. So when the white man seen how a well could go under the ocean, it gave him an idea of a submarine. When he seen how that little turtle could take and stick his head in and bring it back out, put his legs and hands in and out, it gave him an idea of an army tank. When he seen how that bird flew in the air, it gave him the idea of a flying vehicle. He wasn't the first one with the idea. Of course, black, brown, yellow, and red people had ancient technology before he was a thought. I mean, but the point is, the simple becomes more complicated. And once you have a make or a model of a thing, it becomes easier for a determined idea to reach its destination. It happens in leaps and bounds. It's not in increments. So if my great, 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 great grandfather had a moving picture book, I mean, you could just draw little pictures on some paper and then flick the pages and it comes to life. The characters move. I mean, they knew that in ancient Egypt thousands of years ago. That was technology. You know what I mean? And eventually somebody make a film. And the film would be black and white. The light bulb would heat it up, burn it. You know what I mean? You gotta splice it, tape it back together and all that stuff. There'd be problems with it, but it serves its purpose. And as time goes on, somebody came up with tubes and came up with a black and white television. Not too many channels, pictures, not all that, but you know, the radio becomes a TV, a cyclops, if you will, one-eyed monster, or it could be a window to the world, depending on how you use it. Everything has cause and effect, protons and electrons, positives and negatives. It's universal law, it's mathematics. But eventually somebody made a color TV. And from that color TV, somebody made high definition TVs. Somebody made this iPhone I'm holding in my hand. Somebody, you know what I mean? So now technology is in a position to take us to a whole nother level. Now, I mean, you know, there's robots on Mars now. Now, I mean, you know, uh, trash on the moon. I mean, so where humanity is going, your guess is as good as mine. But eventually, human beings will master the universe. That's the goal. We'll never reach it, but we will do things in the future that'll make this stuff look like mere child's play that we're dealing with in this day and time. So I want you to understand, close your eyes to see. Now, I mean, stop underestimating and doubting your innate natural abilities. Stop ignoring Hawk or reality. Listen, smell, look, speak. Peace. Salam Allah. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep.